Sometimes, you have to go out of your way to be a good Samaritan. You can give to one of your favorite charities or volunteers at a soup kitchen, for instance. Other times, however, the opportunity to do the right thing is thrust upon you, and you have to take it. It's not always easy or convenient, but it's crucial to seize the moment.
Before we begin, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
That's exactly what one father and son duo realized while driving along a stretch of rural highway one day. They spotted something strange on the road, and they couldn't bear to ignore it. Brett Winningar and his son, Zach, often went on adventures together through the great outdoors. Still, Brett, a self-described lover of mildly extreme sports, could never have predicted for the adrenaline rush they'd experience during one fateful motorcycle ride. On a seemingly ordinary day, the father and son were enjoying a pleasant ride in Little Rock, Arkansas, when they spotted a strange object on the side of the highway. It looked worn and dirty, but Brett could tell even from a distance what it was: a pet crate. Most people would just drive by without a second glance, but the two men didn't hesitate. They promptly pulled over and realized that the crate had a giant hole in it. It seemed it had been intensely chewed through by something that was desperately trying to get in, or out. Knowing that any trapped animal could be dangerous, Brett and Zach approached cautiously. When they opened the door, they were stunned. Inside was a dog, and she was badly emaciated and hunched over from being locked in the cramped box for so long. The men knew exactly what they needed to do. After speeding home on Brett's motorcycle, they returned in their car with a giant bag of dog food, which the starving pup promptly devoured. This was only the beginning of their journey, though. As soon as the dog hastily gobbled up as much of the food as she could, the father and son brought her into their car, where she would have more room to stretch out and be comfortable. Then, they headed home. On the way back to their house, Brett and Zach decided to name the sweet pooch Charlie Bravo, or CB for short. Though she was clearly in bad shape, she was extremely lovable, even giving them kisses. Once home with the rest of their family, Charlie Bravo received a much-needed bath. Her nails were so overgrown that they'd actually begun to grow back into her paws. Clearly, the pooch was neglected, and she needed medical attention, fast. This kind of medical issue was severe and complicated enough that it could only be taken care of by professionals. Brett and Zach brought Charlie Bravo to the veterinarian as soon as they could. Thankfully, the veterinary team was happy to be able to help the sweet dog. The veterinarian first carefully dressed the sores that had developed on poor Charlie Bravo's paws. She estimated that the dog was about 8 months old. She was just a puppy. Who would do this to such a young, loving dog? Brett shared Charlie Bravo's story online and it went viral. Then, the family started to receive a variety of donations from all over. Thanks to the generosity of their community, they were able to help pay for the dog's growing medical bills. But the donations didn't stop coming. In fact, the family received so much support that they were able to pay it forward. After paying off Charlie Bravo's veterinary bills, they donated the rest to various animal shelters in the Little Rock area. It was impossible to tell just how long Charlie Bravo was kept in that crate, abandoned, starving, and without hope. The most important thing, though, was that she was finally in a safer, more loving place thanks to two good Samaritans. After becoming so attached to Charlie Bravo, Brett couldn't bring himself to give her up. She'd become a member of his family, and he decided to officially adopt her and make her a permanent, beloved fixture of his home. Today, Charlie Bravo is a happy, healthy pup who enjoys nothing more than playing in the snow, not to mention all of the other perks that come from finally living with a loving forever family. Brett and Zach weren't the only ones who had a soft spot for Charlie Bravo. Everyone living in the house quickly warmed up to the little dog. Even the family's other pets didn't seem to mind sharing the spotlight with their new pal. In fact, there was so much activity and energy in the house, especially since Charlie Bravo's miraculous recovery, that Brett started to lovingly refer to it as the Casa del Wackos. The family had a grand total of 4 rescue animals in their home. They were considering starting their very own charitable foundation for other rescue animals who needed the kind of help that Charlie Bravo once did. If their ambitious plan was a success, the family said they would call their new foundation Charlie's Angels. Brett even set up a website for Charlie Bravo to allow people to donate to their efforts, too. This family knew the importance of setting aside inconvenience when it came to saving the lives of animals in need. They also recognized that not everyone can afford that. Hopefully, their fundraising site will help inspire people to be good Samaritans, just like them. According to the American Humane Association, millions of pets each year are found in heartbreaking circumstances. Thanks to kind people like Brett and Zach, these pets can find loving families and get a second lease on life, just like Charlie Bravo did.
If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds.
One of the many incredible things about canines is they can always, somehow, tell when something is wrong. They sense when humans are hurt or upset and dole out extra licks and love accordingly. This is one of the many reasons we adore them. This was why these two dog owners were startled when their dogs started behaving a bit strangely, like the pooches were trying to say something. And when these owners listened to their dogs, they saw just how compassionate their best friends could be. Diamond is a Jack Russell Terrier who lives in Iceland with his owner, Gunnar Sigurjonsson. One day, Gunnar was using his computer when he noticed Diamond whining as he walked into the room. The dog then turned around as if he wanted to lead Gunnar somewhere. Diamond started to run, leading Gunnar straight to the balcony, where there was an unconscious bird. "I immediately thought the bird was dead," Gunnar said, "so I called Diamond inside." Gunnar figured he'd take the bird outside, so he prepared a sheet of paper and a basket. Just as he was about to scoop up the animal, the bird started moving. Gunnar brought the little bird back into his house to heal. And after about an hour, he flew in a big circle and landed back on top of Diamond's head. This must have been some kind of birdie thank you for alerting Gunnar. The bird, though, wasn't safe quite yet. The bird clearly felt safe with Diamond, and after a few minutes, he flew over to a shelf. Gunnar was afraid that the bird might get hurt again while flying around indoors, so he picked him up and placed him inside a blue basket where he would stay safe overnight. Gunnar named the little bird Bibi. Once Bibi seemed back on his feet, Gunnar returned him to the balcony. But Bibi didn't want to leave just yet. "More than an hour later I looked outside," said Gunnar, "and saw the bird exactly where I had put him." So, he returned the little guy to the basket. Things became easier after Bibi got a good night's sleep. I set the bird free around lunchtime the day after, and then he flew after a few seconds in my hand, getting some orientation obviously. And boy, did he fly high up, surely looking for some new adventures. A while after the bird had gone, I said to Diamond, "Where is Bibi?" recalled Gunnar. He looked at me, very sharply, then he ran directly to the balcony door and jumped on the arm of the sofa, to look out. He knew exactly what I was talking about. Though their meeting was brief, it absolutely seemed like Bibi knew Diamond had good intentions. It's amazing that Diamond could show such affection towards a bird, but he's not the only canine who's helped save a bird's life. Meet Kenai, the golden retriever. Kenai, much like her owner, loved the outdoors. They would both frequently take strolls through nearby forests and loved being outside in the wintry months. On one particular afternoon, however, Kenai stepped up to do something incredible. Kenai, her owner Carrie Burns, and Carrie's close friend, Pam, were walking along the Sucker River near Lake Superior, taking in all the beautiful scenery. Not too long into their journey, however, Kenai started barking frantically at something close by. About a dozen yards away from the group was a bald eagle. He was lying in the middle of the snowy forest floor. He didn't look like there was anything wrong with him, but Kenai seemed to have an inkling the eagle was in some sort of trouble. Carrie and Pam started to slowly make their way to the bird, and as they got closer, the eagle simply hopped along the river bank. Something wasn't right. Since it was so late, Carrie and Pam planned to return the next day with more help. But, would the eagle still be there? Early the next morning, Carrie returned to the river with some bald eagle rescue professionals from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. He was still there. The rescue workers knew how to safely handle birds who needed help, and they had all the gear necessary in case the eagle started acting out. It took a little while for the workers to calm the eagle down, but eventually, they coerced him into a safety cage. Carrie was amazed the bird was still on the river bank after all those hours. There was clearly something wrong with him, so they brought him to the Wildwoods Rehab in Duluth, Minnesota, to find out what. A woman named Peggy Farr was the first to examine the bald eagle. She noticed it was slightly underweight, but it wasn't anything to be extremely concerned about. He clearly had eaten somewhat recently. Farr also noticed the eagle's left shoulder was somewhat swollen, but luckily, not fractured. After Farr gave the bird a thorough physical examination, she passed him along to another worker who wrapped him up in a blanket for warmth. He'd been lying in the snow for so long that many of his feathers were frozen, and they needed to thaw out. Farr eventually came up with a theory as to what happened. During hunting season, it's pretty common for animals to pick at dead deer who still have the lead bullets in them. Occasionally an animal will nibble at meat that has traces of the lead, and they get lead poisoning. This can drastically slow down their reaction speeds. Had this been this eagle's fate? After the bald eagle's short stint at Wildwoods Rehab, he was transported to the Raptor Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Raptor Center specialized in caring for birds of prey such as eagles, hawks, owls, and falcons. They'd be able to confirm once and for all what was wrong with their new winged resident. Lo and behold, the Raptor Center confirmed the bald eagle had lead poisoning, and there was also a soft tissue injury on his left shoulder. Luckily, the eagle made a full recovery. Many birds that consume lead die, so this was great news for the center. Once the eagle was fully recovered, he returned to the wild, and he had Kenai to thank for it all. Diamond and Kenai sure are amazing canines. They both saw animals in need of help, and they let their nurturing instincts immediately take over. That bird and eagle sure were lucky they had such caring dogs in their presence, or things could have turned out much differently.